Welcome to the Lost Lowdown, podcast 109, with your hosts, Claude and Justin.
What's up, guys?
We are back, continuing our commentary series with episode 203, Orientation. So, this season's been pretty good so far in terms of how they're setting it up, and it'll be interesting to get back into Orientation, which could have been the first episode with the, just with the title, but
yeah.
So is this is the first one where we actually get more information about what's going on down there? The infamous orientation video.
Yes, this is probably the biggest. I don't want to say nugget, but because I don't like that word, but anyway. Nugget of information that we have so far about this station and who built it and why.
Mm-hmm.
And so it felt like a goldmine of time. It felt like a deepening of the mystery of this place that we've only, recently seen the inside of from the point of view of the show. And, it seemed ripe with potential. Again, like, the cool thing about Lost is they go above and beyond. Like, it's not enough that... it's this mysterious organization that has built this place for, obscure reasons and has this strangely edited, old-looking, orientation video that's kind of creepy. But, then there's this insinuation about the incident, and something happened that they don't tell us about. And so we get, an extra layer of mystery.
Lost never, answers the question without opening a mystery.
Yeah.
It's just that's just what they do.
It is, yeah, and they were always good at that. It's like they, okay, we're going to give you this thing, but then there's something that comes along with it. There's some kind of escalation or extra bit of information that they still hold back.
Mm-hmm.
And really, in the long run, I mean. What eventually turned into the incident is kind of a letdown, but I do think it's cool how we get the first mention of it here, and we don't really know what it is until the very end of season 5.
Yeah, I mean, imagine a version of this show where you could sort of, shoot everything you could ever want and then display the show,
right,
as if like a novel version of the TV show. And imagine this episode and if something like Locke is watching the orientation video and in the background is LaFleur.
Oh God.
You know what I mean? and we go, whoa, that looks like Sawyer. And it's not until 3 more seasons that we figure out how he gets there. You know what I mean? That would have been so interesting, because what the incident is pretty crazy. If in season 2 you say, oh, that incident thing? Yeah, that's got to do with the characters who just landed on the island. But wait a minute, that happened in the 70s. Yeah, so what? That it would have been. Yeah, exactly. They'll figure out a way.
Yeah.
So that's what's crazy, and of course I was going to make the joke, with this episode, we with this orientation video, they tell us everything we ever need to know about the hatch, and of course that's not true.
Right. I mean, there is one part that's pretty noticeably cut out that I know comes into play later.
Well, I hope that doesn't lead to a mystery,
yeah.
and or another station.
Yeah, you're right. I guess that's another mystery.
I think that's the only reason that footage is cut out, so they could find it some other place.
Yeah. Oh, definitely.
Because I mean, to go on a tangent, we're supposed to believe Rosinski cut that thing out and then went and stored it. I mean, why at the
Arrow? Oh my God. It's so ridiculous. He cut out something that I can barely justify why he would even care. I mean, what? I don't know. At that point, when all of Dharma is dead, and it's down to him and Kelvin, he should. First of all, he shouldn't expect reinforcements to come. I mean, him and Kelvin know the deal with the hostiles.
You know what he didn't hide? all of those books at the Flame Station, all of those documents
Oh,
and stuff,
yeah.
you know, the complete catalog of everything that was going on up there.
Yeah, that's true. No.
You know?
He wasn't worried about that. But then he has the Blastor map, this elaborate system to where you can only see the map if you pull down the Blastor and shine a black light on it, you know. And it's like, it's just him and Kelvin. I mean, if hostiles break in there, isn't it too late to matter, like, if they see your map?
I think
like,
if hostiles break in there, they kill both Kelvin, and Rosinski, and then they leave.
Yeah,
like,
I know.
They're
I know.
not looking for any. They're not looking for that map.
They don't
you
care.
know?
I mean, they basically know about all the stations already anyway. So it's not really going to be news to them.
Yeah.
Even if they did care to see it, which, as you're pointing out, they wouldn't. Of course.
And here's the thing, right? I mean, really, you know, we're obviously watching this from having seen the host series. Isn't it basically true that the this is just ridiculous that the others know the island, right? I mean, they were there before Dharma gets there, right? So that any station that's built, they know where it is because it's in their territory.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So really, none of the stations should be secret.
Right.
You know, unless they're okay, maybe you could say, they built something in secret at a certain point. Yeah, whatever. Maybe the Pearl, they can't, you know, it's underground or something. But like, you know, those other stations that are above ground, you know, it's like with how the timeline should go, it really shouldn't be a secret that the Arrow and the Flame and that other stuff is around. And I really feel like it's just a product of this Swan Station being supposedly secret because we find the hatch instead of the front door.
Right.
You know, that it makes it seem like there's this big conspiracy about hiding these stations when in reality the quote unquote hostiles should really already know that they're around because they would have seen them building it. You know, I mean, look at the, you know, during the incident when they were building the Swan. I mean, that was a huge construction site. You're not going to be hiding that if you're in hostile territory.
Right. But even within Dharma, you know, it's not a secret where the stations are because they just have, like, big construction crews out there making the thing.
Exactly.
And it's not as though they're like, they have, I mean, I have no reason to think they have some kind of crazy high-level clearance, and they all know it's there.
Well, you could have thought that before season 5 when we see what the orientation is like and we see that there really is no high level clearance and the only people who have secrets are the people who decide to keep them, you know.
Right. Yeah, but then you have Marvin Candle and his weird pointless aliases and yeah, this whole concept of like keeping these things secrets that is kind of confusing. I think
that's definitely on the unanswered questions list. Is why was he having those aliases? And I would have loved some sort of retcon answer. You know, like when we get to season 5 and they're trying to record the video, and it's like, you know, oh, Dr. Kieta, like, you know, we need to make sure that you have different names because of XYZ, you know.
Right. Well, there is that thing in The New Man in Charge where he says something about if you keep spreading my name around or something, I'm going to have to start using an alias. You know,
that's the kind of retcon I didn't want.
Yeah.
That doesn't actually give a reason why he needs aliases.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah, that's a half answer.
Yeah, I don't think they had a good answer for it.
No.
Because I think it just didn't fit into what Dharma actually ended up being. I think, they liked portraying that. And so having Radzinski taking the orientation film, cutting out a piece about communicating with it, because it could lead to an incursion by the hostiles or something, and then, like, taking that film and putting it in a Bible and then taking it over to the Arrow, like, it makes no sense at all.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
I just hope his thought process was like, I'll cut out this bit of film and hide it next to Radzinski's eye. I mean, Mikhail's eye, you know. Just keep it there.
Yeah. They should know each other, but I don't know if they ever met.
Oh yeah, they definitely should know each other.
I like that idea, but it's just I think especially for characters that mostly exist off screen, I think it's tempting to have them do all sorts of things that seem like a good idea at the time, but that don't really add up to a character that makes sense.
Yeah.
So
which is Brzezinski right there.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. There's in my head, like, there's off-camera Radzinski and there's on-camera Radzinski, and they're just different people.
Yeah.
But
one's annoying and one isn't.
Exactly.
One's cool and one isn't.
Yep. Yeah. Exactly. Because it just doesn't. They don't fit. Like they're not. They just don't seem to come from the same person.
Mhm.
And it seems like for season 5 they needed a type. They needed that type of character, and so they called
paranoid.
The paranoid guy who's gonna like freak out and cause basically cause the incident to escalate, so that they had to stop it, but they just called him Radzinski,
Exactly.
But like, there was no need to do that. I mean, really, for the more casual fan who doesn't care about the obscure mention of Radzinski earlier, it doesn't matter that he's Radzinski.
Yeah, would have been probably equally as cool, if not something kind of better, because it would have been kind of less of a deal, was if the person that they called Radzinski, that actor, that guy, that character, like, he just had a different name. He was somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
And the whole time we're watching that storyline, we're wondering if we'll ever see Radzinski. And then when they cut to the scene and the guy is giving the number and putting the number on the station, like, if we saw that his name badge was Radzinski, and it's like, he's the guy that's going to be in there.
That'd be nice. That would be a lot better.
But we don't actually meet him. We don't actually get a huge handle on his personality.
It's just like a little cameo.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, that kind of would have been nicer.
Absolutely. I would have liked that a lot better.
And it's like, oh, Radzinski's the guy who put the numbers on the station.
Yeah.
It
would have maintained the integrity of the character, and, it would have added to his mystery a little bit, and it wouldn't have ruined him completely.
That's all, just those things.
Yeah. I would like that way better.
Yeah, that whole, I mean, we'll get there in season. We'll get back there, but that whole, like, who was the guy who was like the drug master?
Oh God, Oldham. Yeah. Yeah.
Because it's the 70s, so we're just gonna drug this guy.
Yeah.
Like, what? Like, what? Like, I'm gonna call Ann Arbor and tell on you guys. Like, I don't think Ann Arbor knows you got this is part of your standard procedure out here on the island. Like, Ann Arbor's like, they did what? We don't have any HR forms for that kind of infraction.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, the whole time, like, an HR rep is trying to get a hold to the island. Like, what are you guys doing over there? Who gave you authorization to build a station?
Yeah.
This whole rogue operation going on.
Yeah, they're pretty bad. And I also get this whole, like, Dexter-esque vibe about them, where it's like, they constantly come to the wrong conclusions about things. I mean, they never realize.
They're the Miami Metro of Lost.
Yes. Exactly. That's a pithy way to say my long-winded point, which is that, like, they never learned that Saeed wasn't a hostile, and that actually those other people who showed up weren't hostiles either. And the reason they did the incident was not just because they're hostiles and they wanted to, like, fuck up Dharma, but they thought they could change the past, and like, they're completely clueless about that whole thing. And so they're making this cool orientation video, but really they don't know what happened and why. They don't know that
they don't know that that the hostile, like, these hostiles that just showed up are the most interesting thing they could study. Because they're from the future.
Right. Right.
And they could actually tell them stuff about like what's going to happen to their beloved organization, and like, should we continue building this one or not? Like, should we be messing with the orchid or not? Like, some of them could tell them give them some clues about the future.
Right. And another
That's
thing like bothers me about it is that, like Marvin Candle eventually does learn that they're from the future. So that guy in the orientation video does know that like there were people there from the future, and actually he does know that they wanted to they were trying to stop whatever the incident from incidenting more or whatever.
from inciting. Maybe.
There you go. From inciting. So he knows a little better than like the rest of Dharma does about what's going on. But at the same time, there's really no sense that that his knowing that actually changed the way anything played out for Dharma for the rest of their time. He just kept that a secret, I guess. I don't know. He never went back to the real world, apparently, according to Miles.
Yeah.
And so he must have just stayed there and held this in and then died in the purge. And I don't know, that feels weird to me. I would think someone like him would take a keener interest, and it would be a life-changing thing to meet people from the future.
Well, to meet his son, right?
And that, I guess, throw that on.
I really think that's the way they used to let him in on the secret that they're from the future. It made it personal to him. And I think that kind of, it kind of goes to what you're saying, and like it kind of clouds the focus of this like scientific guy who was interested in what's going on at this area and the island in general, but then he meets his son from the future, and I think that just like it derails him, I think, in a way. It's like, oh, then all I got to do now is just help my son, and then they do that last bit of action, and then that's it. And he doesn't continue to be like the same kind of character he was before. Right.
But it's I don't know, like Dharma continues, after that to like recruit and stuff, and it seems like it just seems weird. Like they tell us why he banished Miles's mother and him from the island, like, to keep them safe from the bomb blowing up and all that. And Miles has his little tearful thing about it's the only way she'll leave, and that's fine, but it's like once the incident's over, I mean, Dharma's still coming. Like, why doesn't he join them again? Like, why does he never see them again?
Well, I'm going to come up with a pretty good answer that's still kind of a cop out, but okay. I was going to say, if he's first I was going to say he does go on to build the orchid, right?
Right.
So I mean, I think like you could say he continues his work, and the orchid has to do with the time travel stuff. So maybe he's trying to, or at least teleportation stuff. So he's trying to further the studies that this all started with, when they were building that station.
Yeah, okay.
That's the first thing I was going to say. But I was also going to say maybe, and it's kind of a corollary, I guess, to the first part. But what if he? And I'm giving Lost a whole bunch of credit. This is obviously nothing that's in the show. But if he, if he extends the logic of time travel out, he might think that he needs to, do X, Y, Z to make sure that the future lines up to the way Miles said it did. So maybe he thinks like, if my son never saw me, then I shouldn't go meet him.
Okay.
Or else, like I won't. The future won't be the same, and he won't actually come back. And,
right.
So maybe like he's like, I'm just gonna do, whatever he does in the meantime is because he's trying to maintain the timeline. But that's like I said, that's just a big cop out. But
Right.
But the fact that he does stay in, I think we can assume he finishes the work on that station has to be finished. I think that says at least why he was there, and maybe
he
they would
shoots
just say
the film there, so he definitely stays there.
Yeah, so maybe they would just say, after that he gets killed on the Purge. So
Yeah. But I don't know. I mean, they're constructing the Orchid in the 70s. I mean, Purge is a ways away. Like, I imagine they finished the Orchid well before the Purge, so it still feels like there's a gap there where I don't really know what he's doing.
Yeah. No, I think there's a gap, but I think it's sort of a amorphous gap. So
Yeah.
kind of like what
It's true, and I mean they aren't supposed to.
The submarine was getting repaired for a couple years or something. He couldn't leave the island yet. I don't know.
Right. I mean, they aren't supposed to be able to change the past, right? I mean, that's what the show eventually tells us. So, if he didn't go visit Miles, he shouldn't go visit Miles because he didn't.
Mm-hmm.
That whole...
And that might be what the conclusion he came to. Like, I shouldn't go do it because I didn't go do it.
Right. Yeah, I guess so. But, like, apart from that, I can't think of a reason why he wouldn't,
Mm-hmm.
It just seems weird. Initially, letting them leave the island totally makes sense, but it's the, more than a decade after that just seems very strange.
Yeah. Well, maybe he couldn't find... Yeah, I mean, there's definitely no evidence of why he didn't go with them, so I can just continue to make up reasons.
Right. Yeah. That's the thing. I mean, reasons could be made up, but it's another one of those places where, like, a character just doesn't really have a story that
mm-hmm.
actually totally fits together.
Yeah.
They kind of just fill those things in.
Well, they just neglected to tell us that part, but maybe there's a good reason. Because I mean, that's all that's missing is a reason. It's not incongruous. It's just missing evidence.
Yeah.
Which is better than it just not. Than like the Rosinski thing where it's just kind of, not matching.
Well, yeah. I mean, I guess I'm just interpreting it that based on the way he's depicted, it doesn't seem like it fits his character to not go see his family after, the incident's taken care of. Yeah.
But I'm just saying they didn't give us they're not saying he didn't go visit. What am I saying? We know he didn't go visit him, right? But I feel like they're not presenting contradictory information. They're just neglecting to provide information, which is a slight difference. That make sense?
Yeah, I guess so. But I mean, I could throw out...
They're neglecting to tell us why he didn't go visit, is what I'm saying.
Right, but
instead
of, if I wanted to... Like, I could also say that, well, if they just didn't tell us what led Rosinski to change from the person we see him in the 70s to what he did with Calvin later. I mean, there is a pretty long, more than a decade gap there. So, if they wanted to give us a reason why he changed, they could have. But, since they didn't, I don't, I guess I'm taking it as a contradiction.
Yeah, I guess I'm looking at it from the angle of saying, like, Rosinski, they presented him as from Calvin's description, he seemed like one person. Then when we actually saw him, he seems like a different person, and those two things don't line up. Versus the Miles' dad, the Chang situation is, he doesn't go visit his son, and but there's no information they're presenting saying like that's incongruous with the idea that he would stay on the island versus not. That makes sense?
Yes.
I see what you're saying. I guess I'm just saying it's less than it's worse than it's less bad than it could be.
Yeah. I agree, but it's just. I mean, I know, like, because of how many details they have and how many, like, weird ancillary characters, like, I mean, Pierre Chang got more than a lot of people, but, there's a ton of those floating around that, like, really, like, someone like Tom, where, like, they don't really get their own story. Like, they're just kind of props in other people's stories.
Mm-hmm.
and there's a lot of there's a lot of stuff like that hanging around where it just creates weirdness when you get a picture
yeah,
of
like
the
all you get is the pieces of their story that matter to whatever else they're telling.
Right, and that's how Pierre Chang was until season 5 when we see him in person.
Mm-hmm.
He was just this off-screen presence that didn't really have a full character.
Little did we know he was Miles' dad.
Yeah. Yeah, well, their last names are all crazy, so there's no way to guess.
He never finds out that Miles can talk to dead people, right?
I don't think so. No, I don't think they throw that in.
Wow.
It seems like, yeah, I guess that's another thing that I wish had been clarified or expounded upon, or at least a sentence or two about the idea of, people getting those abilities from the islands.
Mhm.
Because my implication is that that's the case, but I don't think they ever come out and say it.
That the powers came from the island?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, they don't.
Yeah, like that with him and Hurley's seeing dead people thing. Even Desmond's electromagnetism consciousness powers, like, I mean.
That's just because he's Scottish. All Scottish people can do that.
But I think it was emotional enough already to meet his son from the future that he's shortly going to abandon. Then to throw on top of that. Oh, and also I can read the dying thoughts of people who are dead.
Yeah.
So I can see why that scene didn't happen, but I don't know. It would have been nice if some of those dots had been connected.
Well, yeah, it would have been cool to have a little thing about, like, something about, like, something with Chang and the wife and the baby, and it's like, hey, and this is going to be crappy, but, hey, we should move houses because there's a weird, I'm getting weird power sources coming from here, and like the idea that the baby was doused with some sort of, magical whatever, or
yes.
Or we went to, I took my little Miles for a walk, to this lake, and we found this light cave, or something like that, and that's all we get, and we're just supposed to assume, like, connect the dots.
Right. But that would be more, that would be a dot to connect at least.
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, it would have been nice to have a little hint of, like, how Miles could have been affected.
Right.
Since we got to see his birth, birth.
Yeah, definitely. Because I feel like that's a subplot that it's not quite the same, but I think also Locke being able to walk again when he crashes on the island, like that. I guess that, and yeah, I'm throwing the temple waters into that too. But all of those things where the island like does something with your body.
What now?
I think all that stuff.
Tell me where the island touched you, right? Show me on the map where the island touched you.
I think all that stuff was under explained or even discussed.
Mhm. Well, I mean, really, to fit it in with people who have powers, I would want some reveal that Hurley was born on the island.
Oh yeah.
Like, let's lump him in there with those people.
Yeah. I'm not sure how they'd pull that off, but I guess that would be appropriate.
Oh, they could pull it off easy.
Yeah, you're right. I shouldn't underestimate.
Oh, Hurley, didn't I tell you? I gave birth on an island. Wow, Mom, really? See, pretty simple, man. How hard is that?
Wow.
That'll be in season 7. The lost season of Lost.
Yeah. Yeah. Man.
All right, you ready to start the episode? Don't forget we got an episode to watch.
Yeah, okay. I think so. I'm just about ready. Let's see here. Okay. I'm ready.
Right, let me get the player going. All right, here we go.
Okay.
3, 2, 1, go. I don't think Desmond won that race.
No, he didn't.
There's like some race official still waiting for him to show up.
Space.
The last time
Space.
Locke will ever type in these numbers.
Space.
Simon didn't say space. Wow, save us all a lot of work and just kill Locke right there. Jack is gonna pull a gun on him pretty soon.
Yeah. Ah, yes. Others.
See, if he spoke English, he could say, well, the same thing. Oh my God, these people are gonna kill them and eat them alive.
That's the only reasonable thing to think.
Right? Who's this preacher?
Man, he's already got the Jesus stick.
Oh. I wonder why they picked him to beat up everybody.
I know.
Wow. Who are these people? Will we ever get to know them?
I know, God. The others are crazy.
The others are crazy. And they're running this whole island. And, everything that's going on. So, wait, what? We're supposed to think... Oh, first of all, I gotta love that. We're supposed to think they have Walt. That's just, bravo, guys. Bravo. You really pulled it. But are we supposed to think they dug that hole?
Yes. They tell about it later, when they dug it and why.
Oh, right, okay. I love that.
Yeah.
Is this what you wanted, Locke? This is it? This is what you wanted? Gun in your face?
Oh, man.
Yeah. Spite thy name is Jack.
The thing that sucks for Locke is, Jack's more right there.
Mm-hmm. I thought you were going to say the thing that sucks for Locke is his life.
Yeah, well, that is where all roads lead.
John, here's some exposition.
Oops. I didn't even notice.
Whoa! Al Bundy's wife. I forgot he meets Helen at this group.
Yeah. She said a little more than you were special, but never mind that.
Yeah, he skipped over the crazy part.
He did. Because it wouldn't have made sense.
Yeah.
She said I was immaculately conceived, and then she introduced me to my father, and it wasn't God.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't think Helen would have been as receptive if he would have said that part.
Yeah. It's weird, though, because he kind of just retells the story of Deus Ex Machina.
Yeah.
Instead of showing it previously on Lost, we get it in dialogue.
Well, because Helen has to hear it.
That's true.
It's about because this is why she's talking to him.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, it's not really believable, but
that's one of those lines you write and you just keep going. But come on. With missing kidneys.
So you're really my type, you see.
Exactly. I like bald guys with daddy issues who are missing a kidney. I'm very picky.
Oh, man. Love it when Jack yells.
Where's Kate?
So righteous.
She's in the vent.
Where's Kate?
Born to crawl.
She's good at that. Wait, did we see this already?
Yeah, they're replaying this.
All right. God.
Oh wait, are they?
No, she was in the pantry last time. Yeah.
So okay, they're not replaying it.
No.
This is the armory.
Yeah. The armory that will expand later.
Yep. Because they're gonna need to put somebody in there.
Mhm. Oh man, this is such a Pulp Fiction moment.
Yeah, I hope there's no Pop-Tarts in it. He's unarmed now.
That's a good thing to say. No, he's unarmed. Wait, what did he do?
He shot that. Well, he didn't do it, but Desmond. I think Desmond's the guy who shot the gun.
Oh.
Kay hit him, and he made him shoot his gun off.
Oh, and it blew the computer. Okay.
Yeah, I think this is. Yeah, that's right. That's why Desmond leaves. I think too, because they don't. If I remember correctly, they don't actually fix it by the time he leaves.
No, I think he leaves before they fix it.
Because he's like, so he thinks it's a lost cause.
Pretty much. Although, what about the safety?
He won't remember that for a while.
I know. I don't think he knows about it right now.
He doesn't. No, he doesn't know yet.
Exposition.
There it is.
Or what?
So you're telling me it was 15 minutes since Locke pressed the button?
Apparently.
That was 15 minutes?
Yeah.
Wow. I don't buy it.
Yeah, it's a lot. He's not really an expert.
No, he can really just enter the numbers and turn it on and off.
He just like flips the switch. I don't know what to do.
To be fair, it is an old. I mean, I don't know what else he would do either.
Well, yeah. That's true. I think Saeed's going to get involved eventually, though.
Yeah, no. You do have to take the case off.
Yeah.
Or else you're not even trying. Trying on your shoes, Helen. They don't fit. She took that and like she was insulted. Like,
Yeah.
my bed has cooties.
Yeah.
Oh, I remember this. This is just sad.
This is really sad.
This is just sad.
This is Locke's life right here.
This is it. This is what you want, Helen?
Yeah. You sure about that?
And it gets even worse when he's not even sly, he's just
Yeah.
being caught. And the toll is another kidney. That guy's going to be on the island in the Black Rock.
It's true.
I'm just stating the obvious from this scene.
He's not going to be like this, though. He's going to have a weird country accent.
It's going to be, he's the real Sawyer. The real Sawyer's got a southern accent.
I know, but he's different. It's so weird.
That's not a con so much as a barter. The way he just put it.
Oh, don't sip the coffee.
Mm-hmm. Oh.
Wow.
Terry O'Quinn, ladies and gentlemen. Terry O'Quinn.
Yeah. God, he's so... What a sad character. It's ridiculous.
maybe I can help find something in this place I've never been to before.
Look at his face. Whoa. Don't ask me.
Yeah, Kate, Master of the Obvious, asked for the front door.
Yeah. Front door? This should be like, what the fuck?
What was that, like, sound? A pressurized sound?
I have no idea. What is Jack holding right now?
Jelly beans? I don't know what.
Why does he have a jar of jelly beans?
I'm gonna smash these jelly beans. No, maybe it's the computer parts or something.
Yeah, okay.
Be cool if he had a flash forward right now. But just see all that.
Yeah. But I do like the loop where we actually get to see him say it in the last episode.
Yeah. Yeah. Died or got killed?
Or murdered, perhaps?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Jack, what is that?
It's like circuit board little pieces or something.
Oh, okay. That's better.
I missed it. What did he say the button did? Oh, saving the world. Okay.
Yeah.
Watch the film.
Oh, Locke's all over that.
Oh, he was almost running.
Yeah, when you look through a bookshelf and your method of moving books is throwing it behind your back.
he chunked it too, man.
He did. It's like, fuck this book.
This book isn't a video. Oh, we're on the beach. What happened? It's all bright and sunny now.
Vincent? Yeah, they're moving out of the caves. We're gonna see less and less of those.
Mhm. Is his voice really high, or is it just me?
Whose?
Hurley's. Sounds more nasally than usual.
Oh. Oh, this.
Oh, I forgot about this.
I did too.
Yeah, I forgot they were down here. I was enthralled in the swan stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, thanks, Michael. We got it. Could be 100 of them? God, he's right, but he's so wrong.
That's a big hole.
Send the hurt guy up first.
Yeah, it doesn't really make sense. It was his plan, I guess that.
Michael should have been like, "No, I'll go. You're hurt."
Yeah.
But I guess he can't really.
He can't
push
lift.
Michael up.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a bad situation.
Yeah.
Yikes.
That'll get you to move.
Damn, Mr. Echo. You seem really evil right now.
Now I'm trying to think of what does Echo think is going on? He thinks they're the people who killed somebody.
I think they think they're others.
Oh, that's right. They think that they're, which makes no sense why they think that. But this is fucking genius.
I think like anyone they don't know, they think is others.
This is just genius writing when putting this like new character in here, and she's all hurt, and oh man.
Yeah.
I hope she's not in on it.
And if we're really observant, we recognize her from the end of season 1.
Exactly. Yeah.
But he said he was unarmed.
I just want to make this observation, which isn't necessarily true, but I like the fact that since that Locke is old enough to have used a projector like this, so he knows how to set one up. Because I think if he was 20 years old, he would have like taken a bit longer to put this thing together.
Yeah, I'll buy that. All the later videos, I think, are VHS, which makes this process a lot easier.
Yeah.
And then a New Man in Charge, they even had it like ripped to DVD.
Because it's filmed because they cut a piece out.
Right. That's true. I love that music.
It is great.
It's so weird.
Well, this is it, ladies and gentlemen. If you weren't hooked on Lost by now, this video is the way to get hooked.
Yeah.
Like the little swan picture down there. Why? I love that there's 2 of them watching this.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
We'll never meet those guys.
Never, ever. They don't know what misery they wrought.
Wow. So true. And we definitely won't meet this guy.
Oh, wow. Who likes to stand in his window and admire.
Scary. That is a scary shot.
Yeah.
That makes me think that guy's gonna matter.
Mhm. He won't.
He won't. Not at all.
Okay, that seems to be true. That's false. Because the incident technically happened before.
Yeah, you're right. I think this is kind of weird. Like, there's that exit sign behind him. He's in some obscure location, and they have a model of the station.
That is weird. Why is that exit sign back there?
Yeah, it's like bothering me now. Like, get that
I've
out
never
of the
seen
shot. I haven't either.
I just don't know why they want us to know he's at a place where there's an easy exit. I don't know. Why is that?
Yeah, it just seems like bad set design or something. Like, they should block that out.
Yeah.
Like, I can't really tell where this is supposed to be. Some kind of office building? Like, I don't know what.
Yeah.
Ah, and here's the famous Left Slowdown ending.
Wow. I think we just hit a milestone on the podcast.
I love that they trademarked it. Doesn't seem that useful.
Yeah, trademark a top secret video.
Yeah, exactly.
So if somebody copies it, you can present yours as evidence that you did it first.
Yes.
That's awesome. Cheap.
I sort of skipped over it, but I really like we're gonna have to watch that again.
Watch what again? The video?
Yeah, when he says that after the film ends.
Oh, okay.
I guess it just reminds me of that whole thing from the early days of Lost when I would pore over things like that and watch them over and over looking for clues.
You mean wasting your time?
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah, me too. Me too. I miss it.
It was fun though for a while.
Mhm.
As many wastes of time are.
Exactly. Are they gonna eat? There's no food anywhere. The waiter's like,
Maybe the service is really bad.
I guess maybe, yeah.
Because they don't have anything in their glasses either.
It's a shitty restaurant.
Yeah.
Locke's still cool with that scar on his face.
Mhm.
I think by the time that scar heals, Locke is. I think it says something about his character. Like that's his coolness is gone by the time that scar is gone.
Yeah. Yeah. I think they continue to put like a little something there all the way to the end, but it's really faint.
Yeah.
What?
What is that what supposed to be? Oh, okay. She's gonna come clean. So I'm wondering if, like, does she just believe them and now she knows they're not others? Or is she still, like, unsure?
I think she's feeling them out to make sure they're not lying others.
Yeah.
Because she's still lying about the rest of the people.
Yeah, okay. You gotta love that, like, that fucking head turn, man. Josh Holloway, everybody. I mean, that's, you can't buy that.
Yeah, that was awesome.
We're about to be the best. Yeah, you can't beat that.
Because it's so not true. Michael is actually going to murder her.
I just gotta say, at this point in the show, this is the best thing you've ever seen in your entire life. I mean, there's so much going on right now; it's ridiculous.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm totally on board with both of these plots right now.
Mhm.
That's really nice.
I mean, they could have had a whole episode about just one of the plots.
Easily, yeah.
But they're cross-cutting between these two crazy things.
Yeah. That's one of the things I like about the earlier part of the show. I felt like there was less of the compartmentalizing that they did later.
Because this is all about, like, what's going on now, the new mystery of the island, the Dharma stuff.
Yeah.
And then the other storyline is really, like, about the past. And, like, season 1, like, what are we doing here? What about the plane crash?
Yeah.
So they're still, it's cool. Okay, so Jack's the one who just pulls this out of his ass, right?
Yeah.
Like, no one was talking about that, right?
No.
He just thought it up.
Yeah.
Wow.
Based on the orientation film and what he's seen, I guess he came to the conclusion that it's an experiment, yeah. But then we have this, and we know Jack's key floated against the wall, so there's something going on. When all the lights go out, that's not good.
Yeah, I don't think he fixed it.
Love how it smokes.
Yeah, that's how you know. Yeah, that, like, if it wasn't smoking, you could maybe still save it, but
Yeah, yeah.
Shouldn't the black lights have come on?
I know.
Just
Don't
saying.
Don't say that.
Now when the lights go out, it's yellow lights, but later it'll conveniently be ultraviolet lights.
Oh, take that vaccine. You're going to need that. God.
He takes it. Oh, man. He takes it. We'll never see that picture again.
Yeah. Yeah.
Penny and Desmond forever.
Man. That was a pretty sly introduction.
Mm-hmm.
They don't come back to that for a long time.
Yeah. Jack's cool. What's he so cool about? He's like got swagger. What's he doing?
Do you really know what was supposed to happen? He just makes shit up. I love it. You're right. Jack's like cool as a cucumber.
Yeah, he's strangely like I got shit to do. Bye, you know.
Yeah, deal with it. He's totally convinced he's right.
Wow.
Man, I love those triangles
cool.
in the background.
No, that dome is great.
Yeah. Yeah, it just gives this room a really cool atmosphere.
Locke's gonna fix it. I love it.
Oh no. You hear that clattering? That's Locke fixing things.
He's like, oh, I dropped the tools. I was gonna throw them on the wall later.
Man, that is quintessential Locke.
Wow. That's a huge, huge moment.
Yeah, that's like part one of the dishes. If he thinks someone's going to answer him.
Mhm. Well, he thinks he's going to get a sign, you know, because everything's been assigned.
He thinks there's something he's supposed to do. I mean, it's, you know.
Otherwise, why is he walking?
Yeah, that's true. I guess that's there. Wow. That really sucks, Helen.
Yeah, it's ballsy. Which button do you want to press? I kind of feel confused on what Locke's hang-up is. Like, I understand his fear of, like, moving forward, but I don't understand why it manifests in an attachment to his dad.
Well, I think he desperately wanted that approval from his father, and that's why he gave him the kidney. But I think even though he was betrayed, he still wants it.
Like, is it he wants a relationship with his dad, or he wants validation of, like, I don't know, that's what I don't get what he wants from him. Like, is it he... Oh, Kate's talking. What's she talking about? Saeed's like, what the fuck? John's like, Saeed will be interested. And this is a sign. That's probably why he was smiling. That's what he thinks. What am I supposed to do? Oh, Saeed is here.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Oh my god, I hope Hurley doesn't find what he's gonna find.
Oh no.
Oh man. Well, I found it alright. I love that. Do you like the thing that I did? You think that's gonna work on them? It's kind of like the other Gambit that they like on the show, the self-inflicted gunshot wound.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Retcon.
Oh.
Yeah. That's why she's interested.
Sawyer realizes it just a little too late.
Mm-hmm. Oh my God, they planned this all along.
She's in on it. She's one of the others.
She's one of the others. They don't know who they are.
Yeah. I think what we learned is that since they've been relentlessly attacked, they just don't trust anybody that they don't know.
Yeah.
And so they're like, these strange people, we're going to lock them up and question them as much as we can.
I think they have a pretty good, pretty convincing 8:15 story, though. I mean, like.
Yeah. Oh, I agree.
Oh, Jack.
What?
Not on faith alone.
Running, that's what did it.
I know, running is what did it. Like, not your face, not like sharing a moment. It's not your voice. It's running. Oh, jeez. Desmond remembered that?
Jack hates this.
Mm-hmm.
Because he's like, fuck, this seems like fate.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
I didn't want to hear that.
Yep.
Oh, Jack. You have a lot of crying to do.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, I feel like this is like the beginning of that of the persona of Jack just crying all the time. There's some more flashbacks where he's just crying it up.
Yeah.
Literally. Season 6.
It's true.
God, I remember when I first saw this and Desmond runs away, and I'm thinking, oh my God, what's going on? Who's gonna press this thing? And you know, where's this guy going? And
yeah.
Wow. Whatever that is. Why is the timer still working if everything else is blown out?
I don't know. Maybe it's mechanical. Maybe it's a wind-up timer.
Really?
I doubt it, but I mean, there's some kind of backup power. Yeah. I know.
That's what the donkey wheel is for. It winds up the timer.
Sure.
Oh, wow.
I mean, whatever backup power is running the lights, maybe that's connected to the timer.
Yeah. Well, we got DOS to run.
I like that cursor, too. The little, like...
Yeah, it's weird.
Caret and the colon. Yeah, it does.
It looks scary.
It does, yeah. We already did this. If he didn't stop, like...
I know.
Blowing up dynamite, he's not going to not enter numbers in a computer.
Well, if the numbers are a curse, then one wrong of the numbers is a blessing.
It's an anti-curse.
Anti-curse. See, and okay, so that means that Jack was convinced,
yep.
at least enough to do this.
Yeah.
Otherwise, he wouldn't have shared the information.
Yeah, exactly.
What do you? Why is he like? He's like biting his lip, like he's all like, "Fucking do it, Locke."
He wants Jack to do it.
Uh-oh. That's weird. I gotta say, that's weird. This is a weird turn of events. Because Locke should be all about himself. This is his destiny.
Yeah.
Like Saeed just said it. But I mean, they're turning this into a man of science, man of faith thing.
Right, right. And he wants to pull Jack in. Okay, that was a classic scene right there. I just talked over. Sorry.
Nice.
That exchange is like fundamental.
Yeah. The button.
You think it might be more than that, Jack. You know you do.
I mean, I wouldn't have it any other way, but it's just weird how they got here,
Yeah.
Because it really doesn't matter who enters the button. It doesn't have to be a two-person operation. Like Kelvin was doing it by himself until Desmond came.
Right.
So it's just an arbitrary thing that he wants Jack to do this, but And this just proved nothing. All it proves is that you can reset the timer.
Yeah.
Which they knew already. See, that's kind of what the statement that they're making is that Locke just, which I don't think is consistent, but saying that Locke just doesn't want to be on a great path, but he wants someone with them,
Yeah.
He still needs that outside validation, even from like a peer maybe or something, or a follower, That was weird. I mean, it totally turns up the drama.
Yeah.
With that. No, you press it.
I mean,
what?
Yeah, he, I think, yeah, it's kind of a weird progression. Like I feel like that's along the same lines of, the whole thing it eventually turns into with like, Locke blows up the submarine and then, to try to keep him there, and then Locke kills Naomi to try to keep him there. Because he wants Jack to embrace the island the way he wants to do it.
Yeah.
And so I feel like it's part of that part of him. Even though he does mostly want it for himself, he wants Jack to be included for some reason.
Well, that's what's weird is he doesn't even know what it is yet. Like, it'd be different if he's like, okay, Jack, I know you don't think anything special about the island. I'm going to go investigate. And then when I get some proof, I'm going to tell you what's up, Like, you know what I mean? Like, he doesn't know what their destiny is. Yeah, but he also wants Jack to just immediately accept it.
Right.
So it's kind of weird, It's like, hey, Jack, follow me on this adventure. I don't know where it leads.
Right.
I'm not sure it's, but I don't know. Somehow that's supposed to connect to the dad, I guess, but
Yeah, I'm not sure that those stories really match up. I mean, it's character development for Locke, but it doesn't seem like where he is in this episode. I mean, aside from like wanting a sign or wanting guidance or something, it doesn't seem like it really hooks up that well with the flashback.
Yeah. Good episode. That was a great episode.
Yeah, it seemed like it ended really fast because there was a lot going on.
There was a lot going on.
I would say I don't think there were any wasted scenes.
No, there wasn't time to waste any scenes.
Yeah, like they both stories had.
Well, maybe that dinner scene with Helen and.
I wasn't counting the flashbacks.
Okay, well, if you don't count the flashbacks, then yeah.
Yeah, I meant the island stuff because flashbacks always have like a scene or two that isn't that great, but.
Yeah.
But yeah, in terms of the island stuff, like both stories had a really good progression, and I think the thing that I found really nice about this episode is we finally got significantly beyond them meeting Desmond for the first time.
Yeah, totally.
Like the last two episodes, I mean, we saw it a third time here of that initial thing where, Jack meets Desmond for the first time when he's holding Locke at gunpoint. And although I like that in a way, I also was like, okay, I'm ready to learn more about this place. I don't want to see that again. So getting the orientation film, and really, I think that orientation film by far the best of all of them.
Oh yeah, it's the first and best.
Yeah, like they right off the bat they nailed it. I think for how how those things should be.
Yeah.
And like the later ones are just kind of pale imitations.
Yeah, totally.
They serve their function, but like this one is just really well done on its own, and it introduces those things that you're talking about, and there's just a lot of nice details in it that make it creepy to watch.
Mhm.
That little piece of music at the beginning, and the sort of the way the logo comes up, the kind of cheesy montaging, like.
Yeah.
That's kind of weird. The shot of Hanzo, I love that shot. I don't know what they were thinking with that, but it looks really cool.
Yeah, he looks pretty crazy in that picture.
Like gazing off into the distance from this high-rise building. Like, I don't really know. It made me think, if we could just meet that Hanzo guy, then we would understand what's going on.
Yeah.
On this island. And many people, I remember podcasts that I listened to before, we started podcasting, like, it was like, yeah, Hanzo, we're gonna see him before the end of the season.
Otherwise, why would he be in the video?
Exactly. Yeah. Hanzo and DeGroots. And really, even in as late as season 5, I thought maybe they'll find a way to throw him in there.
Yep.
But I guess, the closest we get is, maybe Daniel Faraday met one of the DeGroots when he was in Ann Arbor.
Yeah.
That's pretty much, that's all there is. As far as I can tell, I mean, there is the weird detail that, like, Hanzo's grandfather or whatever was the captain of the Black Rock.
The captain of Black Rock. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I feel like that's a weird piece of the puzzle in terms of why he may have been interested in the island that is not filled in.
Yeah.
But besides that, as far as I can tell, the Dharma Initiative, I mean, they found the island interesting, but they didn't really have a grand plan or any great insight.
And the greatest the orientation video is, like, I feel like in reality, all that information about Dharma wouldn't have been in this video. Like that's not what you would tell someone who's already
they're recruited already.
Yeah, they're recruited
You're
already.
right.
They know what the organization is. Plus, when you get
to... It serves exposition for the audience, but it doesn't make sense for an orientation video for a recruit.
Yeah, and plus when they get to the island, anyway, they go through an orientation process,
right.
and they see what what everything's about. So it's like, what? Yeah, that wouldn't be in this video. But
It just doesn't match with the way they portray later. And if the other orientation films don't have like background info about Dharma.
Exactly. Yeah, they should all have. And Dharma is this thing, like.
Yeah. No, you're totally right.
In the third video, they tell you what the organization is. It's like, well, in the first and second one, they don't tell you.
See, this is what makes it seem like the people who are down there, like, they're recruited before they know anything. And then they're just, like, thrown in there and shown the video, and that's the first they've ever heard of Dharma.
Exactly, yep.
And it's like, that's not how they show that it works later. So, I don't know. There's plenty of that in the show. I'm not surprised. But, yeah, you're right. I mean, but I just meant, like, on its own terms, I guess, not in terms of how it fits into the plot, the way they show Dharma later.
Mm-hmm.
I just think, just like the little movie in the Ring or something, like it's just creepy and nicely done in terms of the details and the way it's edited.
Yeah. No, it's good stuff.
Yeah, and
I
like the film thing too. I think there's something extra creepy about film versus the VHS tapes that are just video they watch later.
Yeah. Yeah, VHS isn't that creepy.
Yeah.
Unless it's pan and scan.
Oh! I don't know what that means, but...
I don't either.
Yeah. Yeah. And, and I really like the thing with the tail section. The way they introduce that.
That's just great.
Yeah. I love the the complicated misunderstandings that happen initially.
Mm-hmm.
Eventually they do accept them because their story is pretty convincing.
The truth sometimes is
right. Exactly, but initially, they both don't trust each other.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's a big fight, I guess. They didn't necessarily see each other, but, I guess I just like this concept of another group that has passed
that had their own adventures and their own and they had their own leaders and their own followers, and it opens up the show because you're like, no one was wondering, well, I wonder about the tail section, like no one was, everyone assumed, if I remember correctly, people just assumed it just went in the water or whatever,
Yeah.
It wasn't a mystery of where is the tail section and did any of those people survive.
Yeah. Yeah. They, if you wanted to, they plant the seed of the little thing Boone hears on the plane before he dies. That Bernard supposedly said. And, we know Rose is waiting for Bernard, and she speculates that they're thinking the same thing about us. And there's the Ana Lucia scene and at the end of the season. If you wanted to, you could maybe guess that they would show this. But it would be a stretch.
Yeah. Well, because the Rose thing... Yeah, she says she's waiting, but you didn't think she was telling the truth. You didn't think, oh, yeah, she'll be right. Her husband will come back and we'll find him. You know what I mean? Like, she seemed crazy.
Yeah.
It didn't seem like that was for sure. So you'd have to believe in all of those things at once to even guess, like, oh, yeah, they're going to show the tail people.
Right. Yeah. It's true. And I really do like it. I don't know. We're going to watch it again pretty soon, so we'll see how it goes. But just when I think about the show, the other 48 Days is probably one of my favorite episodes.
Yeah.
And, it's totally about the tail section.
It's great. Yeah. And it's such a breath. I think what makes it great is it's a breath of fresh air on the show.
Yeah.
Because it's like you relive what you liked about season one, like meeting all these people and the crazy situation.
At like hyper fast speed, so you
really
get to the good parts like really
Yep.
quickly.
Yep.
Yeah, I guess that's the key. It's like distilled Lost or something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's a whole it's a season 1 of Lost in one episode.
Yeah. Yeah, so I guess like I do like, and I like a lot of the Tales section characters. But when I look at the show as a whole, I am left thinking, they didn't really do all that much that was necessary for the plot. Like, aside from Bernard, getting him back, and I don't know.
Hey, it's not their fault they weren't in the main fuselage. It's not It's not their fault they're season 2 characters.
It's true, but I feel like the show gives us a pretty decent number of them as sort of new characters, but they kind of all die pretty fast.
Well, that's really actually that becomes a pattern with the show, right? Where they introduce a whole slew of new characters and that don't really matter much.
That's true. That's true.
But yeah, that was kind of the first time doing that, of like, here's some new people, and they're not really all that important. They're just more people.
Yeah, don't expect them to to be new, like, big main characters.
Yeah.
On the other hand, Desmond certainly sticks around.
Yeah.
And Ben, the other season 2 character, who definitely sticks around. So there are exceptions, I guess. But yeah, of course I wouldn't want to take them out of the show. But yeah, the Tales section, I don't know. As much as I like it, it doesn't really seem necessary.
Mhm. Well, I mean, it's not. I mean, what is necessary, right? I mean, season 3 isn't necessary. I mean,
You're right.
Necessary, but I mean, I know what you mean. Like, in terms of, that's the thing. I mean, if you're focusing on plot, no, but it's obviously character stuff is what they're getting out of all that.
That's true. And I wouldn't want to not have that stuff. I mean, it's good.
Yeah.
Yeah. And for me at the time, like, it kind of reminds me of how I've never seen it, but how, like, on Voyager, Star Trek Voyager, there's a lot of stuff about the Borg because of where they are. It kind of feels like with the Tales section, we get a lot about the others.
Because they're just having to be closer, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And so they're getting attacked a lot more, and and at the time, I was very interested in the others and learning more about them. So that was another reason why I really liked the.
What made you stop?
Well, it gave us answers.
What, finding out about them?
Yes. It was season 3. If you must know.
What made you stop them?
It was totally them. Yeah, I think. Yeah, it was probably towards the end of season 3 when I started thinking, like, these people are just completely out of control, insane, and they have no idea what they're doing.
I think by the time they're lugging around Ben's desk and tent, changing locations, I think his armoire and his chaise lounge. I think I think I think that's when I was like, yeah, wow, the others, you guys suck.
Yeah. I mean,
that's when it's for sure.
Yeah, that was not a high point for them. I mean, the Richard Alpert recruiting Juliet stuff was cool, and they did throw in all this stuff about Jacob and the cabin and all that seemed to throw them back into the "there's something weird with them" category.
Yeah.
But at the same time, every time we saw them interacting, they just didn't.
That's why I think
there's
a difference. Like, I would say Richard's cool and Ben is cool, but the others suck.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it seemed like there was going to be some really interesting backstory about them.
Yeah.
That because it's like, how can they be this crazy if there's not, you know? But
well, it just turned out that their leaders were, it's really their leaders were crazy.
Yeah.
And and that they were a misguided group of followers who would follow anyone who threatened to kill them or to keep them safe. So
right. Oh God, oh my God, don't remind me about that. Yeah. By the time we're at that point, it's I not only do I not like I hate the others.
Mm-hmm.
I despise them. I never even want to think about them again. I hate those others. Oh my God.
That's when basically like Cindy's in charge,
Yeah,
like it's gotten so bad that she's like the top other around,
Yeah, that's really
when
sad.
When one of the losties is the top other, like, someone from the plane is the top other, they're a bad group.
Yeah, and they just follow him all the way to getting bombed by their former leader. It's like, well done, guys. Way to protect the islands. I have no idea why I cared about you.
Yeah. Well, they have no idea why they cared about the island, so I think it's fitting.
Yeah. So, there's season 6 others, which is, it's even worse than season 5 others or season 4 others. They just slowly deteriorated.
The whole history of the others really kind of makes Jacob seem like a sociopath. Like, that he would let these people just, flail around in idleness, pretend running errands for him and doing all this stuff, and he, like, it's pretty crazy. Really, the whole concept is sort of sociopathic, like him bringing these people to the island from their normal lives, and very megalomania to think he's got the right to like change their destiny. And
right, but I think I would forgive it a little more if he ever talked to them or told them things to do.
If he actually mentored them in some way.
Yeah. Then I could at least justify that, like, well, he's taking these people out of their lives and he's giving them a purpose or a mission or something, and maybe they're getting something out of that. But in fact, he's just throwing them to a series of
more hostile situations.
Yeah, and like megalomaniacal leaders who don't have his permission to do anything, but just take their own initiative to do whatever the fuck they want, and they have like ready-made army of followers who are going to follow them, thinking that it has something to do with Jacob, but
Well, and it's in a situation where there's actual evidence that there is a need for drastic measures to be taken.
Yeah.
He's not bringing these people to like a nice park or something. It's like, no, this is a hostile island and with magical properties, so it's gonna make people react as such.
Yeah.
So it's even increased. He's just increasing the conflict.
Right. And then God, fine. I'm just gonna quickly bring this up. This has been talked to death.
2 hours later.
This has been talked to death, but just to pile on top of that.
Oh, wait. So what about the cabin?
Oh, man. Just to pile on top of that, Jacobs, he's got this army of people he never tells anything. At the same time, at the same time, he's got this former brother, current smoke monster and Resident Evil incarnate who he knows.
Former brother, current smoke monster. That's something you can't put on your resume. That's a unique one.
Who he knows wants to kill him and leave the island. In order to either inadvertently or by direct action wreak havoc on the world. And, I know he doesn't tell him much, but it just seems like he could share maybe that one thing so that just in case, like, somebody comes along who seems to be claiming that they died and came back to life, or someone dead, perhaps that's someone you shouldn't go follow.
Yeah, but that makes sense, of course, and that's the thing to do, but the context is predicated on this bet that they have about human nature. So that makes it where, because really that's it's that's the reason he doesn't interfere.
Right.
So, if you take away that bet, then that's really exactly what you described is what he should do, which is be practical.
Yeah.
But they put this idea that it's sort of quote unquote unfair, or really it's his own decision, because like Man in Black isn't trying to be fair. He's trying to get off the island / and if he doesn't even care about the bet, but
right.
he wants to win the bet by default, but
right.
he's not actually trying to make the bet necessarily happen.
Right.
Well, maybe you could say he is by corrupting people.
Yeah.
But he is. But that's the thing. He probably would say, "I'm not even corrupting people." It's like
yeah.
he doesn't even know what he's doing. That's
no,
a whole
I don't
other
think he would
conversation.
spin it that way. But yeah,
that's a whole other thing. But so that's really the problem with the setup, is that they have to have him not talk, not interfere, or otherwise, you could say in season 1 when they land on the island, Jacob should be there.
Right.
He should gather them around that first night around the campfire and tell them what's going on.
Yeah. Here's the deal. Here's why I brought you here. Here's what the smug monster is. Here's what you need to do. Go.
Yeah, it's like, hey, don't worry. In season 2, you'll find some food.
Yeah.
And then later we'll have a pallet drop. So
Because I know the future. Don't tell anyone.
Exactly. That's really what makes it crappy. I mean, it's like they, it's a weird version of having your cake and eating it too, because, but it's being bad, because it's like you want him to not be Obi-Wan Kenobi and just tell them everything they need to do, but at the same time, given the context, that's practically what he should do, is help them out, so.
Right. I guess, like, it just,
I guess it's like, I'm trying to put it in Star Wars context, and it is like, if Obi-Wan Kenobi's like, oh man, I really should go make sure Luke gets trained, but I don't want to interfere, so, I'm just going to hope that Luke, rises to the occasion against Darth Vader, and then Darth Vader ends up, Man in Black, Darth Vader, ends up just, like, winning because, Obi decides not to help Luke because he doesn't want to, that would be a shitty Star Wars movie,
right.
know. It wouldn't work that way.
Yeah. No, I see the function it serves. But, it's like, on the other hand, they have machinery to test the evil within, and they use it on Sayid and Claire and determine that they've been corrupted by this guy, and, I mean, they know, then they see Sayid and Claire following this guy and acting creepy and, like, seem to be completely unaware of the connection between the two. It's like they know stuff, but not when it counts.
Well, yeah, that's Lost right there. But I mean, to be fair, the people who know about the test was Dogen and Lennon, and they both got killed.
Yeah, I guess so. They're the only ones, though. Like, I don't know.
Well, I mean, the regular others are the stupidest ones. They never find out anything. So I mean, really, the point that you're making, you made before, which was that when Man in Black, Locke is during sundown, when he's like, hey, they know someone's out there that's trying to kill them, and then he comes in and says, if you don't leave, you're gonna die, and they all follow him anyway.
Right.
It's just kind of like that's a clear evidence of you're following the wrong person.
Yeah, exactly. And they just don't, like, if they even seemed afraid, I would buy it more. It's like, look, we can't this guy's powerful. Like, we can't like not follow him. He'll just kill us. You know, but at least get the sense that they're aware that he's a threat and he's scary.
I think they're probably like, listen, guys, we made it this far by following whoever told us to. Let's just keep on doing it.
I don't know. It just makes them look really ridiculous, and you know.
Well, that's okay, but remember they are ridiculous.
I know. I know.
Because
but that's
really
what I'm saying.
It's
that's why I like.
It's because it's really Ben that made the others seem like they were more than they were. You know, it was really the reign of Ben that made them, you know, have this sort of seeming agenda. You know, because and before that was, you know, Widmore and Dan's mom.
Right.
Which they were kind of organized then, but I think before that, like, they're not a big organized group, you know. And again, they don't have an ethos, you know. They don't have a doctrine, you know. Outside of Jacob as the leader, that's all they really have, you know. And so, which is why they're easily manipulated, you know. So I think that's really what their problem is. They're this group of people who are not really bound to like a strong ideology. They're just following whoever can keep them safe.
Right.
You know, when it comes down to it.
Right.
And they don't know any big secrets.
But in that case, like, I would expect, I don't know. I know there's always the like, you know, people follow other people for strange reasons, you know, and it you know, it happens, so it's possible that the others would just. But, you know, it is a bit odd to me that they, you know, at least some of them know that a freighter is there by the island, and, like, it doesn't seem like any of them care to try to leave, except, like, Juliet, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I would expect if their commitment's that low, like, they would want to leave if they get any kind of chance. You know?
Well, I mean, I don't think their commitment is low. I just think it will be attached to anybody. You know, I mean, that's the thing. I think, like,
if it's like whoever can keep me safe. I mean, isn't the safest thing to just leave the island?
No. Well, no. I mean, like, well, yeah. I mean, I think I was.
I mean, it's only dangerous. You only need someone to keep you safe because the island's dangerous.
Well, I mean, okay. Let's walk through this step by step. I mean, yeah, that's true, but by the point at which that they could get off the island, you know, with the freighter, Jacob's still around. They're still committed to this idea that he has this plan, right? So that's one thing. But by the point that Jacob's dead, you know, Locke comes and says he's dead, you follow me or you're going to die. I mean, that's a different situation where now they have to make a choice about their safety, and they decide, okay, well, we're just going to go follow this guy. You know, so I just, like, that's the thing. I don't want to say they're not committed. It's just that, because they do seemingly have evidence that they need to be following Jacob for the whole reign that he's around, you know, because, you know, not towards the end until he actually dies and they switch allegiances.
Right.
But the problem is that since he is hands off, since they don't have like a doctrine, they don't have, these are the things you should always do. You should always protect the island. You should never leave. You should, you know, whatever you would want to say. Like, they don't have that, so that means that who's ever leading them can decide what the rules are. You know?
Right.
You know, Widmore can lead them and decide they can kill babies because they want to. You know, because they're, you know, like when he tells Ben to kill Rousseau's baby, you know, kill Alex.
Yeah.
You know, that's his decision. That's not coming from Jacob.
Right.
And when Ben's the leader, he decides we're going to keep kids, you know, take kids for no apparent reason. and that,
yeah.
you know, that in lies the problem of the others. You know, it's it's whoever's in charge gets to decide what's going on.
Yeah. Right. And then, yeah. That creates a group that I think is ripe for the Man in Black to swoop in on.
Exactly. Yeah.
So.
Well, I mean, that's exactly what he does. I mean, Jacob creates. You know, he leads his own downfall. It's his own fault. You know.
Yeah.
Everything that happens is really like his fault.
Yeah.
Because he didn't take the he set up a situation where, okay, I'll bring people to the island to test this idea to see if man is inherently good or evil or whatever. But I won't tell them what's up. So left to their own devices, these, and if they stay alive, these people will accumulate over time and then form a group, aka the others.
Right.
You know, but still without that kind of like leadership and influence. Like now he's just created a bigger group of people that can be influenced by Man in Black instead of one person at a time.
Right. A group of people who readily follow.
Yeah.
And so if a leader steps up and tells them to do stuff, such as, a supposed reincarnated Locke, then they'll just march off with him.
A leader that they were told was, already their leader.
Right. And they don't realize that, that whole situation was manipulated already.
Exactly.
It's like the reason why they think, the reason why he got to the point of saying he's their leader is because of, is not for reasons that they really understand.
Yeah.
And if they did, then, they would have been more suspicious.
Mm-hmm.
I think the worst is Richard. I think it's hard for me to forgive Richard for not being more suspicious.
Yeah.
He knows. He knows what the smoke monster does. He knows that he appears like dead people. And
well, hey, Locke appeared in the 50s and said, "Hey, I'm the leader." I mean, what are you gonna do? You're right. Now, I think the problem, of course, is that it's not until, obviously many years later they're on the island when Richard gets to see, he gets to go back to the situation where Locke is about to go, where Man in Black, as Locke, tells Richard to go help the Locke that's time traveling.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, like, it's not until there that he could really even say, oh, wait a minute, that event in the 50s might have been part of some conspiracy, because now he's back to a situation where he's seeing the time travel actually happening.
That's true.
So it's kind of too late then to do anything about it. The legend has already, been made and created.
Right.
So that's part of the problem with time travel.
Right.
But
I guess he has counter evidence, but I think anyone saying I died and then I crashed on and came back to life, I mean, I don't know. I think that story should be suspect.
Dude, well, true, but so should a man who doesn't age,
Right.
So I think that's, that's part of the problem with
and that is exactly the story he uses. They have that conversation. But it just, because Richard had a specific experience of that type, seeing someone dead on the island, and it was the smoke monster manipulating him, I want him to be a little bit more
but that was like 500 years ago.
I know, but it was formative. I mean, that was the experience that led to him.
Listen. Sawyer couldn't remember Kate. After 3 years.
Don't bring that up.
He couldn't even remember what she looked like. And you want Alpert to remember something that happened before electricity? Come on.
All right,
I'm only half kidding. But no, I mean, should he have been more suspicious? Yeah, but I mean, it was sort of a different situation because he wasn't just impersonating, because the Locke who time traveled was really Locke, right?
Right.
So I mean, he was actually interacting with the real Locke in these situations.
Yeah.
Up until the end.
True.
So
he just doesn't know that the reason Locke was time traveling had to do with the smoke monster.
Exactly.
So I guess that is a leap. I mean, but yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, think of the credibility you get. He's gonna get when he says, "Hey, walk over there. You're gonna go fix me up." Me that's time travel. I
Right.
mean, that's very strong evidence
You're right.
that he's in control and knows what's going on, and it just is, just happens to be the wrong person in control.
Right. Right. Yeah, I guess that ties him in. That makes it seem like, that makes it seem like that's him.
Mhm.
And he really has been, I don't know, gifted, or he has some kind of new power that's been bestowed upon him, that he's able to catch his own time traveling self.
Mhm.
And come back from the dead. And so, yeah, I guess he just buys into it, but I don't know. I mean, it's weird because they hammer it home. He's like, because he tells him, "You got to tell me that I have to die."
Mhm.
And he goes over and says it, and then he comes back and he says, "Well, I'm sure glad you didn't have to do that." He's like, "Yeah, I did."
Yeah.
It's like, it's weird. Like, he's forcing the point. Yeah, I died. Just make it clear.
Mhm.
Just in case anybody's wondering, yeah, I died.
Yeah.
Tells Alana, I remember dying. That's the man who killed me. He's not hiding it. And so it's just, it's weird.
Yeah, no, you can't blame Albert for that. That was, he didn't get much of a leg up compared to anybody else in the others camp. It's he met Jacob that first time. Jacob gave him a little bit of info. I feel like
that was a huge leg up from what most others get.
Well, but that's still not much. Considering the big picture, that's not much.
And he even supposedly met Jacob periodically.
Supposedly.
That's what they claim. Jacob doesn't deny it.
Yeah.
So.
No, I mean it's a huge leg up compared to the others, but I mean what the others knew, but it didn't prepare him for the loophole. It did prepare him for.
Well, that's the thing. I feel like it should have, because he knew all of the necessary information. Like all.
Yeah, but he didn't know what the loophole was. That's the thing. I mean, he didn't know what to be on the lookout for. Looking out for.
I think he could have at least known to be on the lookout for someone impersonating dead people who wants to kill Jacob. I mean, he got that much.
Yeah, but he's not. I don't think he's thinking that someone who is impersonating Jacob can. I mean, that Man in Black can't kill Jacob.
Right,
so,
and he's already, Richard was the first loophole. Like, he's already served that function of having, having someone dead appear to him, and the Man in Black try to get him to murder Jacob.
I mean, I don't think. But when he meets Locke and he sees Locke is dead, and Locke's like, "Yeah, I died." I mean, you're saying that's the moment he should be thinking that's Man in Black.
Yeah, or at least it should occur to him that that's a possibility.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, I mean, I think that's definitely fair. Yeah, I mean, it's fair at that point for him to maybe question that, but it seems
he immediately wants to go see Jacob. As soon as after he talks to his time traveling self.
I think
and he's going to bring Ben in.
It's so consistent, though. That's the problem. For Albert, it's consistent.
Yeah.
He's not doing anything out of the ordinary until he wants kill Jacob.
Right, which he doesn't say to Richard. I guess if he said that, then and they do establish that Ben keeps that a secret.
Yeah, I think that's the thing. Like this seems part of Locke's grand plan when Locke is like, I die, blah blah. Now we're gonna go see Jacob. Like Richard's like, oh, okay, well this is making sense. Like you're the leader now, and Jacob sent you back. Now we're gonna go talk about whatever. But Yeah, I mean, could he have been more skeptical? Yeah, sure. But I think you can't blame him given the circumstances and like the amount of evidence that I mean, the loophole was pretty ingenious.
Yeah. 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 I guess I think he had the best shot at guessing ahead of time.
Yeah.
And, I mean, seemingly he didn't even get it until even after he saw Locke's dead body, it seems like he didn't really get it until Man in Black says, "It's good to see you out of those chains."
Mhm.
Like it took that for him to realize what was going on.
Yeah. I just don't think he was on the lookout for that impersonating dead people thing.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like that should be something that's on like the others whatever they call it, like standard procedures.
Yeah.
There should just be a list of things that, everyone knows and knows to look out for. It just seems practical,
Yeah. Well, the practical thing is usually what characters don't do on Lost.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But I guess like the only reason why I feel the need to harp on that is because, like the way the others are portrayed is as nothing particularly special. I mean, they're just a group of individuals who are brought there, and they they'll follow the leader or what have you. But like, there's nothing supernatural about them or mystical about them really. And so then I start wanting them to be practical because they're just regular people. So it sort of bothers me when they don't like do rational things.
Well, but yeah, they're in an irrational place though. There's irrationality all around them.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's part of the weirdness.
Yeah. That's
so they're
true.
not making great choices, in context.
Yeah. Yeah.
But cool. Orientation. Good stuff.
And that's why orientation was good.
Exactly. Because of all that Alpert stuff. We learned so much about Alpert and Jacob in this episode.
I mean, it's frustrating that, maybe frustrating is the word I want to use. What was I going to say? Yeah. It's frustrating that, a lot of the issues that this episode brings up are not actually part of the long-term story,
Mm-hmm.
And that stuff with Alpert and Jacob, is more so. But it's the extent to which it ties into the others who, are something that's a continuous thing throughout the show. From way early in this, season 1, like there's this idea of the others, and since
thanks Danielle.
Yeah, exactly. Since they were a part of the long-term, mystery, that it's, I wish that had been resolved better, but I guess at the same time, I wish some of the stuff in this episode had mattered more. Because it is really good, and it almost seems like there's a alternate universe Lost where it becomes all about Dharma, and that could be a good show. It would just be different.
I think that'd be called Fringe.
That would be called Fringe. Yeah.
That's getting into Fringe territory where all the answers are more sort of scientific and sort of less fantasy and mystical stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, that could have been a cool show.
Yeah, and I think
it's like, that would have been the show where like Dan is like the light doesn't scatter quite right. Let's find out why.
Get out the light scatter meter.
Get out the spectrometer.
Yeah. That's Yeah.
Oh, there's a 4.5 phase variance here. Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Interesting.
They barely stuck a pinky toe into the pool of that kind of show.
Yeah, totally.
So yeah, but I think there's a segment of the lost audience that really would have liked that show.
And now they watch Fringe.
And now they watch Fringe. Yeah, totally. But I feel like they tease it, especially this season.
Yeah. No, this is that season, yeah.
Yeah, where it seems like the show could go down that road. And I think that they had that option. I mean, at this point, it's pretty wide open how they want to proceed.
Yeah. Well, if they were a show that was about real answers, they would have done that.
Yeah.
But this is a show about not being able to get
Yeah. Yeah. And I think, ultimately I will actually choose what they did over the Dharma-centric Lost, but yeah,
because Fringe isn't that great.
Yeah, I've never seen Fringe, but I don't have a strong interest in it because it's just not necessarily my taste. So
I watch it. I'm keeping up with the new stuff, and it has its moments. It has its moments where it's cool, but it has never approached anything like Lost.
Yeah. From what I understand, it's kind of it goes back and forth between like episodic monster of the week kind of things, and then like a continuing story.
Mhm.
And that
pretty much. They're pretty serialized now with what the drama this season, but
okay.
Yeah, it in the beginning. It's got kind of like an X-Files vibe to it,
Yeah. That's another show I'm afraid of for the same reason.
You haven't seen the X-Files?
No. I've seen a couple episodes, but I haven't really watched it for any extended period.
What were you doing in the 90s?
I don't know if I should. Is there a story?
Story? I really only watched it when it was on, and it's not. I don't think it's an overall story. I think like there's some mysteries that recur.
Yeah, okay.
But I don't think it's like everything's leading up to this one thing, and it's all every episode is a product of this central thing going on.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's what I was wondering, if there was some kind of like big reveal about all the phenomena that they were studying or investigating, I guess.
Most shows don't do things like that.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
But I liked it when it was on.
Yeah.
I haven't really watched it since.
Yeah. It's on my long list.
Mhm.
Because I think I might like it, but I don't know. Although I think they have episodes with like vampires and stuff. So
I don't think there's any vampires.
No vampires? I thought there were vampires.
If there's vampires,
I was told there were vampires.
If there's vampires, then they're not like real. They're not like Transylvania vampires. Like, there might be like, you know what I mean? Like there's some scientists who created a formula. And now there's a person with vampire teeth, but I don't think it's like it's not fantasy like True Blood. Like there's real vampire. Like not that I ever saw. I don't remember anything like that. No, it was more investigating the paranormal and stuff like that. But it wasn't
ghosts.
Fantasy
Did they have
creatures.
Ghosts?
Did they have ghosts?
Or was it always aliens?
No, it wasn't like always aliens. It wasn't an alien show. No, they would just do weird, different paranormal.
But it was
stuff.
aliens sometimes, right?
There was no. Aliens is a big part of the show. Definitely.
Okay.
I think
there were no aliens.
No, yeah. There's the opening montage. The opening credits aliens, ships flying everywhere, UFOs everywhere.
Oh, okay.
But it's like that kind of stuff. It's like that kind of, fringe stuff. I mean, that's what Fringe is about now. But
right.
I guess there must have been ghosts, though, paranormal kind of stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I expect.
All right. Well, orientation.
Yeah, let's see. Okay, right. So to wrap this up, yeah, I think it does introduce Helen, the flashback, but I do think that there's a trend that starts with the show, and like the Man of Science, Man of Faith was pretty good, and Adrift was pretty good too, I think. But it does start to be the case that the flashbacks start to feel less relevant or less good than in season 1. And I got a little whiff of that with this flashback because I think it wasn't that strong. It kind of just sat there. Like it's about Locke goes and sits outside his dad's house, and he meets a lady who he has to choose between that and like sitting outside his dad's house. And there's just not a lot of drama there, and it doesn't really connect with what's going on the island, where he's finding out about the Swan Station and the button, and he's having this thing with Jack about having faith and accepting that they have to push it together and stuff like that. So it just I don't think the flashback was incorporated into the episode that well. I think that was probably the worst part of the episode.
Yeah, I think you're supposed to view the flashback. I mean, the first part of what you say, I agree with. Like, the flashbacks start to get less and less interesting. I think that's just a product of them, us knowing the characters. The more we're gonna see them on screen, the more we're gonna know them, and there's just less and less interesting things to say about them. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
In season 1, we needed to know that stuff.
Yeah.
That was the first time we were getting all that backstory. But I would say in this episode, I feel like the point they're trying to make is, like, at the very, and this might not be a strong point, but maybe the point is just that this is how badly he needs to be on a path and how badly he needs a sign, because look how low he was, sitting outside of the man who stole his kidney, unable to, like, move forward with this beautiful woman. Like, this is how, it's not like sort of, some of the flashbacks which sort of comment sort of on a parallel level, but it's kind of maybe just like contrasting, where he was versus where he wants to be, kind of a thing.
Right.
But
yeah.
It does. It isn't the. I mean, I mean, I love the sadness of him sitting out there, but yeah, in general, it's not. It's not the best. I mean, I would say some of those Helen flashbacks aren't really his best ever, really.
Yeah. I agree. They tried to give something new for his backstory, I think, this season, and that was the big thing. Because really, the rest of it is still carried over. It's just when I compare it to Walkabout and Deus Ex Machina, and the way the flashback was contrasted with what was going on the island, those just seemed a lot better in terms of the way they lined up and the way that increased the impact of both stories, really, simultaneously. And in this, it just didn't feel like they were syncing. The flashback's fine. I just don't think they really meshed that well together.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, some flashbacks, like they're making the same point, and I feel like this one they're not making the same point. They're sort of more contrasting his character,
right,
more than like, sort of making a point in the flashback and saying how that relates to
Yeah. I mean, I think you're right. That's true.
And
I shouldn't complain too much. I mean, there's way worse flashbacks. It was pretty good.
Yeah.
I mean,
Did we find out her name is Helen in this episode?
I'm pretty sure we did. I think they introduced.
I'm trying to remember how that whole thing went. Remember when the woman he's doing the phone sex with was named Helen?
Yes.
I forgot how that, because there's some like reversal about that, right, or something, or was that just a coincidence?
No, I mean, It's a hard question to answer because they never said, but like my interpretation is that he had her use the name Helen because of
that's
this
right.
Helen.
But
because that's at the point
where
he's where he Helen's already left him, and he's kind of he's in the wheelchair and he's sort of hitting rock bottom, and that's why he goes in the walkabout.
Okay. Okay, that makes sense. Okay.
So I think, we hear it first. I kind of think, when they had him call her Helen, I don't think they necessarily realized that they were going to introduce a Helen character later that would give that significance. But I think once they were introducing her, they decided to name her that so that it would sync up with the previous flashback, which actually comes later.
Okay. Yeah, because in that scene, we think it's this Helen, but it's the fake Helen.
Yeah. Well. Yeah. Well, I mean, when we see it in Walkabout, we have no idea, who it's the first Locke flashback. So.
Oh, that's right.
So we don't necessarily think anything. We don't think anything of it. I don't think, except that she's some phone sex operator who's like, who has to like. Calmly reject him because he's trying to invite her.
Ever the ladies' man.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's. I like to think Locke should know that's not going to work, but.
Well,
sad man.
Yeah, overall orientation, sort of. I think the best. I mean, the season premiere is good, but. So the next best episode so far, Adrift was okay.
Yeah.
It's. I always remember this episode. This is the one I could have started watching Lost with, and would have been really confused.
Yeah, that is a weird place to start.
I would have. I mean, that's why I stopped when I saw that clip of Locke watching the orientation film. I'm like, what is this? Turn the channel.
Yeah.
Little did I know.
There's in the show where it's kind of cool to think about what where you started and where you are now.
Yeah, this is kind of the bookend, the beginning of my first exposure to it before actually really watching the show.
I remember in season 6 when we got that like POV shot of the smoke monster, like from the smoke monster's point of view. It was like, this is season 6. We would not be getting this any earlier than now.
Yeah.
So that would, I don't know, that would be a really, really weird place to start. Luckily, I never saw a second of Lost. All I had was the the guy in the box that has to push a button or the world end from you, who you got it from someone else, and I knew something like that would happen, and when they found the hatch, I assumed that was it. That would be the box, but
that's actually kind of funny because this is the episode that's really about.
Yeah.
So I didn't even realize that I saw a clip of orientation and then later heard a description of that whole kind of premise.
Yeah, you're right. They do. They do explain that.
Yeah.
That's kind of strange. Coincidence
or Jacob?
Probably both.
Probably coincidence because he's not responsible for anything.
Well, yeah, that's why it's Jacob.
Exactly. All right. Well, anything else on orientation?
Let's see. No. No, I think that's it. It was a good episode. I agree. Thumbs up.
Way up.
Yes.
We'll be back next time with Everybody Hates Hugo, and I think we're gonna hate him.
Yeah, we definitely will.
Thanks and namaste.
Namaste and good luck.